These antiquities, lamps, Roman iron sword, and coins are over 2,000 years old. Similar items were discovered in a water tunnel southwest of the Temple Mount. On the reverse of this bronze coin is a date, year 4, placing it between 69 and 70 CE, just months before the destruction of Jerusalem under Titus Vespasian, bringing into remembrance the scriptural narrative where Jesus states, "Do you see these great buildings? Not one stone will be left here upon another." Luke chapter 21 and verse 6. Now remember to like, subscribe so I can see you in our next podcast.
Welcome to our episode of Biblical Archaeology from the Ground Down. Sponsored by Bible Interact and hosted by Dr. George Sparks. Now let's explore the field of archaeology in today's episode.
Welcome, everybody. My name is Dr. George Sparks, and my host is Dr. David Graves. Today, we're going to continue again with the magnificent discoveries from the excavation going on in what we'll call the Pilgrims Road. It's an archaeological dig. It's very extensive from the Siloam pool in the south, the old city Jerusalem, ascending up to the west side of the Temple Mount in the vicinity of, you could say, the old Fell or David's City. And then we also have Robinson's Arch. Now, if you can identify those landmarks, the Roman road is running in that direction on the west side through the Tropian Valley. And I'm sure we got pictures that will help. So anyway, David, what I want to do is, last week we talked about the Golden Bell, right? And also we talked about the discoveries that you did an excellent job about the excavation. Is almost like being on a guided tour of that excavation, and also some other remarkable discoveries going on at the Pool of Siloam. I'm not going to give it away. David's working on the podcast. It's going to be coming out soon. Don't miss it. Today, I'm going to talk about, David, another discovery that I'm just going to say recently had in the excavation of the tunnel. Now, for the listening audience, the Roman road that we're talking about is actually about 30 feet below the surface of where the tourists are walking around the Temple Mount area, I could say, in the archaeological park.
Today.
If you know what the archaeological park is, does that make sense?
The people today are walking above ground with all the modern buildings, but it's built on top of the Roman road below. Yeah. And then below that, again, is a water channel that ran under the Roman road that runs under the houses of the modern city of Jerusalem. So they got basically 3 tiers, and it gets complicated. And sometimes they call it a Roman path, a pilgrim's path, or a Roman road. So it goes by various names, but it's Roman, dates the Roman period. The water channel dates earlier than that, to the Hasmonean period. But they're excavating that underground, and so soon tourists are going to be able to walk underground all the way from the Pool of Siloam all the way up to Robinson's Arch. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. They've been finding stuff as they've been digging all along the way, and you're going to show us some coins that they discovered recently in the water channel, I think.
Very good, David. I'm glad I invited you today, because that's what I was trying to say.
It gets confusing.
It does, and I don't want to confuse people, because in my mind I got it right, and I can say it's so wrong. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read from an article, and I kind of like piece this together. Hopefully it's in a way that people can understand. So stay with me on this, and it's not going to take long. And then we're going to look at some artifacts, and then I'm going to share a book with you, if the listening audience, if you want to have more information on coins, I do recommend a book that I have. All right, so let me get into this article. A rare 2,000-year-old bronze coin from the final year of the Great Jewish Revolt between 66 and 70 CE was found in a water tunnel excavation near the Temple Mount in Jerusalem in late July 2025. So archaeology is not that long ago. The coin is inscribed with "For the redemption of Zion," which reflects the desperation of the rebels towards the end of the struggle against the Romans. Now, remember, part of the idealism, I guess, in the political and religious idealism was that the Messiah was going to come and to deliver the Jews from the Romans. And as we know, it didn't happen. So that's got to be part of the frustration. Discovery location. The coin was unearthed during the excavation of a Roman era drainage tunnel at the Jerusalem Archaeological Park. So what we're talking about, this is very, very close to the southwest corner of the Temple Mount, the Archaeological Park. The drainage system runs beneath the main street of ancient Jerusalem, connecting to the Pool of Siloam.
Yeah. Now,
does that make sense?
Well, the Pool of Siloam is about a mile away down in the south, the bottom end of the city of David. Where the coin was found, I believe, was closer to Robinson's Arch, because that's where the exit comes out, right under Robinson's Arch in the archaeological park. And I think that's where they found that particular coin, if I'm not mistaken. So it's about a mile away from the Pool of Siloam for people just to get their geography straight.
So yeah, that's how I read into it also. These items are being found very close to the southwest corner of the Temple Mount or Robinson's Arch.
Yeah.
The coin is dated to year 4 of the Revolt. So coins were dated year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, and the rare ones, year 5. All right. Now, if you can get a year 5, let me know, because we can retire with the year 5.
Yeah. In the year 5, one reason they're really rare is because they only lasted for a half a year in circulation, didn't make a whole lot of them. So it's like 4.5 years is what you have there for the coins, and the dates on each coin. So that's pretty cool. They identified it as year 4 because it had the date on it. And but you're right, those are expensive coins. All of them are. We could retire on those.
The coin is dated to year 4 of the Revolt, placing the minting between 69 and 70 CE, just months before the Second Temple was destroyed. Right. Now, there's certain sides of a coin. We might say the head of the coin is the obverse, and the other side is called the reverse. Obverse, reverse. So the obverse side says redemption to Zion, and the reverse says year 4. So the obverse side depicts a ceremonial goblet and the ancient Hebrew inscription, which is going to be Paleo Hebrew, for the redemption of Zion. The reverse side shows a lulav, that's palm branches, and also 2 etrogs. Those are kind of like large lemons. They're citrus. And these are used in the ritual festival of Sukkot. Now, symbolic significance. The change in the inscription, because there were earlier coins, remember that this is year 4, so they actually had 1, 2, and 3. The inscription changed. Symbolic significance of what? The change of inscription from originally freedom of Zion on the earlier coins to the redemption of Zion on the later coin indicates a shift in the rebels. That means resistance, their mindset, okay, how they're thinking. Which way is this going? Remember, they were in hopes that the Messiah was going to come and help deliver them from the Romans. We know this with the Essenes. That's why they hid the scrolls. They didn't return because it didn't turn out like they wished it would. So now we got the Dead Sea Scrolls because the Essenes died in battle. Now, the mindset, it changed. So the inscription changed. With the Roman forces tightening their siege, the inscription reflects a despairing hope for the miraculous, or for a miraculous intervention, to rather an expected victory. In other words, instead of getting a miracle, now they got to get a victory. It's on them. So for the redemption of Zion. Archaeological context. Excavations of this drainage tunnel have previously uncovered other artifacts from the Revolt, including coins. Here we got coins, and we have a golden bell. This is a bronze bell representing the golden bell that they found, right? So we have coins, and we also have pottery. These are Roman period oil lamps. We call them Herodian lamps. Also very cool. And we just happen to have one here, thanks to the Museum of Archaeology and Biblical History, iron Roman sword, okay, which was also found in the excavation. The finds collaborate with the writings of the Jewish historian Josephus, Flavius Josephus, who claimed that the rebels were using tunnels as hiding places from the Romans. However, that didn't succeed either. Coins from the 4th year of the Great Revolt are considered relatively rare compared to what? Year 5, as the ability to produce the currency was diminishing by that point in the conflict with the Romans. In other words, you got to run and hide to stamp your coins. Everybody's too busy trying to fight or trying to hide or trying to eat. And this is all related in the works of Josephus. This announcement, to give him credit, was from the IAA, the Israel Antiquity Authorities. So this is where I got my information from. David, that's my quick story of this new artifact that was found a year 4 bronze Roman coin, struck, according to experts, not too long after the temple was destroyed. I think that's kind of amazing. And it was found once again in the tunnel system that they are currently excavating. So to keep everybody on the up and up and in the know, we do our best.
And I think that there's been a few more of these coins found in the Ophel excavation that happens just around the corner from the Robinson's Arch that Armstrong Institute of Archaeology have been working on. They've got an amazing excavation going on there for the last number of years. And I think they've reported a few more of those coins having been discovered as well. And I think they've got examples of all 5 years, if I'm not mistaken, that they found samples of those coins. So pretty cool. And if you find a year 5, if you want to find out, just David Hinden's book on the biblical coins. Yeah.
Guide to Biblical Coins. If anybody is interested in making sure if you're a coin collector and you want to be sure it's authentic, one good way to find out is to go and purchase some of these books by David Hinden. This one's, I like it. Look, a lot of people like it. 5th edition. David Hinden, Guide to Biblical Coins. I recommend it for Bible studies. And also, if you're out there and you're going to Israel and you're on a tour group and you're visiting these antiquity shops and you're interested in a coin, get information first before you buy coins, folks. Because actually in this book, it'll give you a price range, but also it'll tell you what the coin is supposed to weigh. Now, not everybody does this when they go to Israel, but because I do visit antiquity shops, I got this little scale. It's in grams, right? So not Billy Graham. That's the preacher. It's in grams. And so, first thing I do is, okay, they're showing me a 1st year Revolt silver coin, right? A shekel. It looks good. Look at the edges. It should be struck, not stamped, Well, it's not minted. Coins today are minted. That means they are centered. However, in the ancient world, they are struck and they're largely not centered very well. All right. So anyway, I always bring my little weight scale because the first thing I do is plop it on the scale to make sure it's within weight. Because if it isn't, that's in the story. No more attention to that coin. But beware. So
Well, it's
one
kind of
thing to help you guys out, a book. Yes.
interesting as well is that in the tunnel, they also found it's called a Becca weight, which is half a shekel. And so they were able to, in antiquities time, they were able to find out, how much your coin weighed by using this Becca weight. And half a shekel was the amount that it was charged individuals for the temple tax. And you've got a shekel there in your display, little coin there on the top, a Tyrian shekel. And so they were able to tell what, those two, are one. It was 2 coins, but it's the flip side. So we see the eagle on one side and Malkat on the other. But the Becca weight was really interesting because that's how they were able to determine whether, like you did in the gift shops, the weight of the coin. They did the same thing in antiquity, and they used the Becca weight, and they found one of those. So we know they're weighing the coins to make sure they're authentic in antiquity, just as you're making sure that the coins are authentic in your hunt for biblical coins today. So
Absolutely.
good job there, George. That's a good overview.
Well, quick information for everybody this week. Everything doesn't have to be an hour long.
Yep, that's great. That's good.
But if you want an hour long, we can do it.
We have them. Yeah. You can,
Because I was thinking, because things are ticking in the mind. The more you're talking, mine's ticking about, oh, we could get this artifact or we could get this artifact, because you have Iron Age weights and you have Roman period weights. So just as archaeologists can look at time periods through pottery typology, we can also look at different weights and kind of tell, whether it's Iron Age or Hellenistic or Roman period by what type of weights they're using. And in the Roman period, which I'm going to talk about probably next week, about the burnt house, because there they found around, it looks like a hockey puck. And it was the type of weight system that they used during the Roman period. And it had the name Cathros on it, which was a priestly family. I believe it's mentioned by Josephus too, the Cathros family. It was found in the destructions of a house on the west side of Jerusalem. And it's called the burnt house. And it's a tourist location. But David, I need to end this. I don't want it to be too long. In the collection of the museum, Archaeology and Biblical History, I was going through their collection. I noticed one of those hockey puck Herodian weights. It was painted red, right? But it's 2,000 years old, so some of that paint was worn off. You know what was in that weight? Lead. So the Bible does warn us about people that were cheating. We had one weight for buying and one weight for selling. Somebody was cheating, and
oh,
somebody went and yes,
like the
right.
banks,
Somebody had to.
like the banks today. Oh, okay. Yeah. One for
Oh
buying,
well,
one for selling. Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Cheap.
the end of not the end of the story, but there is a story where somebody noticed something was going on too, and went and turned over the table of some of those money exchangers that were using those weights with lead in them. So there's a defender out there somewhere.
But that's for another day.
That's for another day. Yes. Okay, folks. Thank you for your time. David, thank you for helping me out and explaining those different levels. But that's why we got a field archaeologist, and that's why I'm stuck in the museum.
No, we'll put a few pictures up to help folks to understand it as we go. So,
All right. Thank you very much. Hey, David, we just hit this morning 270,000 subscribers.
wow. Wow.
Okay.
I'm coming.
It is cool. And everybody out there, thank you very much for subscribing. And we'll continue to find artifacts. Anything new out there, we'll bring it to your attention. Just stay tuned. Until next time, thank you very much.